Hello and welcome to the Outside the Numbers podcast. I'm Shelby Allen,
No, I'm Ethan Manjuri.
and today we're going to be running over some off-season headlines. We know there's not a lot of them, so this episode will probably run a little shorter than our past ones. But Ethan, you want to bring us in with the first headline?
Yeah, so this week, really the biggest thing that happened in the NFL was that Carson Wentz was released, which is not a huge
Yeah,
surprise.
do you have the numbers on that? I know it freed up. I believe it was a pretty astronomical number, at least 16 mid-teen millions in terms of cap space for the Commanders.
Yeah, pretty huge.
Yeah, and they also released veteran safety Bobby McCain, so they're clearing up some space. I know that there's going to be some people in Washington maybe looking at this and thinking, is this setting something up for Lamar Jackson? Which it can't be ruled out. As people are going to be thinking about that, he's the number one free agent for this offseason. So, any
Yeah.
thoughts on those rumors, Ethan?
I think it would be super cool, to be honest. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's interesting to see people speculating, and it does look like that's what they're at least maybe going for. Like we
I
might
haven't seen
see a
other
real
teams clearing up cap space this early
Yeah,
in the
we
offseason.
might see a
So,
real push from them, and then things might start getting interesting because other teams are gonna have to respond.
yeah, and it could take new ownership for him to make the move, but he's basically got his options open, and as we progress, it does feel like that's the direction we're going. I know this is going to be Carson Wentz talk, but I feel like Lamar Jackson just kind of, I don't know, makes more sense. But it's as the offseason progresses, it starts to feel more and more like teams are going to be able to offer that guaranteed money that the Ravens don't want to, and it could just be that simple that some other team wants to wager their future on him, and the Ravens aren't willing to do it.
And I think it's a smart move to wager your future on Lamar Jackson. I think he's proven himself in the league pretty well and played some tough teams and won some tough games, and I think he's going to carry that wherever he goes. So I think it's a smart
Yeah,
investment. It's just can
the,
you
the
afford it?
and the only thing that comes to mind in terms of making it a dangerous long term decision is that he's struggled with injuries so much over. I mean, I think we're 4 years in, but this past season he only played a handful of games and missed the majority of the year. So, is that something teams are willing to give guaranteed money to? Are people speculating that maybe that injury was more holdout than injury? There's a lot to think about. So, but yeah, long story short, Carson Wentz is no longer a Commander. Who do you think is the team that's going to be willing to pick up Carson Wentz? And we had the same conversation off season. Surely this time, a year later, not a starter, right? I mean, we're looking at Carson Wentz as a backup.
I mean, more than likely, unless something crazy happens. But I think that's just kind of where his career is now. I think he's just gonna be a veteran backup that provides some extra coaching, maybe just another eye on the game. But I don't think he's going back to a starting role,
Yeah,
which
I
is
would have
sad
argued
because
last off season that this is just as true, and I don't think we learned otherwise. I mean, I think he
no,
probably was ready for a backup role last season. But yeah, I don't know who needs Carson Wentz because in terms of backups, he may be a higher end. He's maybe the new Andy Dalton.
I would
Late career.
I would say he would be a higher end backup just simply because of his veteran status. But it is going to be interesting to because it seems like every team that he's gone to after Philly the hope has been that he gets back to where he's the quarterback of the franchise, and that seems to be what they're offering him when he comes in, and then it's just not happening. And so it's
Yeah,
it's interesting to think who's going to be the next team to try to promise him.
it is tough to watch coaches and offensive coordinators continue to just kind of say like, "Oh no, it's I can fix him.
Yeah,
I can get him back to his previous form." And he's a lovable character. It's tough to watch him struggle like this, but at this point, it's just going to be a better look for him even to just become a backup and not have all
no,
of
yeah,
that
to stop,
expectation placed on you.
just let it go, just because I mean he had his best season the year that Philly went to the Super Bowl, and he led them the whole way and then got to the game and didn't play in the game. Nick Foles, the backup, took over, beat Brady, and overshadowed Carson's entire season leading up. And so it's pretty sad when you look at it because after that, it's just been just a straight downhill. So,
and this is tough too. I saw this as well. He basically now he had Nick Foles come in as backup late in the year, win the Super Bowl, and then he went on. Eagles draft Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts takes over and almost wins another Super Bowl, but he's had two of his backups now reach the Super Bowl, and he has not, I don't believe, taken a playoff snap. So it's a tough place to be, and now maybe off to backup pastures for Carson Wentz,
yeah.
But yeah, a small bit of offseason stuff to talk about. Gregg Rosenthal over at NFL.com released his top 101 free agents of the offseason. It's a great read. If you want to check it out, we'll link it in the description. He breaks down all positions, all free agents, 1 through 101. Ethan, if I told you to guess how many Philadelphia Eagles are in the top 101 free agents this offseason?
7.
It's going to be really awkward if you guess more. There we go. No, it's not 7. It's 11.
It's 11.
So over 10% of the list is just Eagles. Miles Sanders, center Jason Kelsey, who might be more of a retirement concern than a free agent, and many, many others. So I think Brandon Graham as well. So they're losing potentially multiple members of their defensive line. Gardner Minshew, starting running back, and I don't know who they're going to re-sign, but man, it's a tough look for a team that, it looked like maybe their window was longer, and you've still got the young quarterback, you've still got the young coach, but you're going to have to pay the quarterback pretty soon, and it doesn't look as promising for the future as we thought.
Yeah, that's a lot of different positions to have to fill, also, that are going to be difficult to find adequate replacements. Probably going to be a step down in a lot of those areas. Yeah.
Center especially is huge, and it's something where he's been there so long that the last time they were worrying about who to put at center, it was probably early 2010s or earlier. So something for the GM to be concerned about, and potentially Philadelphia fans to be concerned about. But that's not even big news. The biggest news of the week is that Aaron Rodgers emerged from the darkness. Aaron Rodgers,
he's returned
after some soul searching. He's out in the light again. So he went on a 4-day darkness retreat in which he was closed off entirely from the light, no sound, anything, and he was just contemplating, I guess, drinking tea, and is just thinking and hallucinating. And now, Ethan, do you think that somebody is capable of doing this and then coming out and thinking, all of that mind altering that I just did, it's convinced me I want to play for the New York Jets?
It could happen.
Yeah.
But no. Realistically, no.
I don't see the appeal for him. It's so hard to imagine. It doesn't look right when you Photoshop him into the uniform. I don't know. I don't know what. Now, granted, I've never closed myself in a closet for 4 straight days, left with my own thoughts.
Was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Being honest, I don't really know what the idea was, like what, but he's gone a little cuckoo the past few years with some experimental stuff. So
Are you hinting at something there? It sounds suspicious.
No. I mean, that's what his headlines are all about. It's not football.
Yeah.
So, part of me thinks it's just he just does it to get a little more attention, keep his name in the headlines. But
yeah, that's actually something I have yet to figure out. Really, I want to be mad at Aaron Rodgers because I'm a Cowboys fan, and he's given me 2 of the more heartbreaking days of truly my life. So I'm not a big fan of the guy, but is he actively feeding these headlines? Like, to me, if I'm going to go on a darkness retreat, the goal of which is to, you're kind of escaping reality and you are looking for answers within yourself, right? Now, if you were going to, the type of person who felt this was necessary, and you were going to do this, would you then, before you go, say, hey, X reporter from this website, by the way, I'm doing this, and here's all the details of what I'm doing, and here's when I'll climb out of my hole in the ground. Would you really? Because he could have just done this and just not
Right.
told anybody, and maybe
Right.
found the answers or not, and it wouldn't have mattered. But is it? It's not about. Is it about? It's more about the story and drawing up drama than it is about inner peace, if you will. That's my take on it. But I tell you what, we're at 12 minutes. This is the height of the off season, so we appreciate y'all joining. Next week, we're going to hop in on that 101 free agent list, and Ethan and I will each be drafting a team fully constructed from the free agents that we will then ask y'all to vote which one of those teams is better. So hopefully you'll come back next week, and we'll have our social media up by then, and we'll have polls ready for y'all. But in the meantime, thank you, Ethan, for joining, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.
Yep. See you later.
See ya.